Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mickey in Minutes. I'm your host, Nick Lazaga, and this is the weekly top three, the show where I get to comment on the three biggest Disney news stories of the week in just about 15 minutes. There's going to be a timer and everything. Let's see if I can beat the clock. And I'm not sure about it today. I have a lot of really interesting things to talk about. So let's jump right in. All right, 15 minutes on the clock starts right now. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that Disney finally released the full schedule of events and a ton of information about D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event. This, of course, is 3 days of Disney amazingness, and this is where they make a bunch of announcements regarding films and theme parks, and they have panels and an open show floor, and it's just the coolest thing ever. I'm jealous of anybody who gets to go to this. But let's break this down. So they have some things happening at the convention center in Anaheim, and they have some things happening at the big arena over there as well. So let's start with the big events. On August 14th, that's a Friday, there's the Disney Entertainment Showcase. The website says Friday night, the world class storytellers of the Walt Disney Company will take center stage at the Honda Center for the Disney Entertainment Showcase. Guests can expect surprise celebrity appearances, exclusive first looks at upcoming films and series, and exciting new announcements. It also mentions that there's going to be some unforgettable musical performances. So, this is where they're going to announce all the upcoming features for Disney Animation and Pixar and Star Wars and Marvel. And those musical performances we could assume are going to be some songs from upcoming movies. You know, maybe we'll hear a song from the new Frozen, what is it, 3? Frozen 3. So I think that could be really cool. But the next day, August 15th, that's the one that all of us crazy Disney Parks fans are looking forward to the most. That is Horizons Disney Experiences Showcase. And this, of course, is where they're going to announce upcoming projects, presumably, for the Disney parks. Now, I have some predictions here. So let me read the description and then also share some of my predictions. So, it says join host Neil Patrick Harris for a journey into the stories shaping the future of Disney experiences around the world. Okay, first of all, Neil Patrick Harris is hosting this, not Josh D'Amaro. I guess since he's the big cheese now. Well, not the big cheese, that's Mickey Mouse, right? But the boss, Josh D'Amaro, is not hosting this year, but Neil Patrick Harris. And I like Neil Patrick Harris. I think he's great. He's a showman, and I think that's really going to play into another part of this description. So it says, building on the ambitious projects announced in 2024, this year's showcase will take fans deeper into the creative vision behind what's to come, hearing directly from the Imagineers, storytellers, artists, and innovators bringing these experiences to life. So, right there, we could already tell maybe a little bit of a letdown that most of the presentation is going to be giving us more information on the things we already know. I say kind of a letdown because we all want new announcements, but there may be some of those still. I'll get to that in a second. But we're going to hear and see more information, concept art and pictures and stuff of Piston Peak National Park, Monsters Inc. Land coming to Hollywood Studios, Tropical Americas for Animal Kingdom, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the next line is where it gets really interesting. It says, inspired by the Carousel of Progress. We'll talk about that. Neil will guide the show and lead engaging conversations with the people creating the future of Disney experiences, complete with behind the scenes looks, special performances, exciting announcements, and a few surprises along the way. All right, let's break this down. So, inspired by the Carousel of Progress, really, Disney? Are you just digging the knife deeper? As you probably know, the Carousel of Progress is closed as we know it. This version is gone forever, and they're doing a full revamp of this, brand new show scenes everywhere. But first of all, it's confusing. The presentation is called Horizons, and then the theme is Carousel of Progress. Those are two different attractions, but also they're kind of like very much related. I always figured Horizons was kind of like the next step after Carousel of Progress. So that's an interesting take right there. Um, but Carousel of Progress, like I said, Neil Patrick Harris, he's definitely a showman. And I feel like he's going to bring singing and costume changes to this presentation that I think will be really, really awesome. And that actually leads me to my first prediction. I predict that they're going to announce Neil Patrick Harris as the new voice of the Carousel of Progress. I mean, that he would be the voice actor behind the father in Carousel of Progress. That is iconic. That's an iconic voice. And Neil Patrick Harris, while he doesn't have a deep, booming voice like we're used to for the Carousel of Progress, he still has a very iconic voice. You know, he's done voiceover for other things in the Disney parks already. So maybe he'll be the new voice of the Carousel of Progress, and maybe that's why he's on stage in the first place. So that's my first prediction there. And then it talks about exciting announcements and surprises. So there's some rumors floating around about Space Mountain. I know WDWNT and other places have posted rumors that Space Mountain is going to go down for a very, very lengthy refurb. Now, I do have a prediction about this. It's not necessarily something I want, but it's something I think might end up happening, and that is a Stitch overlay to Space Mountain. I can imagine, new projections, a soundtrack. My wife and I were in the car listening to Disney music, as people do, and the cue music for the old Stitch Great Escape attraction from Magic Kingdom came on, and I was like, oh yeah, they could reuse this for Space Mountain. So imagine you're in Space Mountain, the when you're going up the lift hill, those people that you see in there in the control center, they're like the aliens from the movie, and you're part of the crew that are chasing down Stitch in that opening scene of the movie where he's escaping. I don't know. I don't know if I want that, but it doesn't sound too bad. But I'm a purist, right? I love Space Mountain as it is. I don't want to see it get changed, but if they wanted to make a huge announcement, that could be one of them. And my last prediction, what everybody is thinking, will we finally get a Figment announcement for Epcot? Will they finally revamp the Imagination Pavilion and give us some new Figment? They've been teasing this for years and years and years, and they've obviously been making money hand over fist with Figment merch. And I think it's about time that they make that announcement. So, this is the first D23 event with Josh D'Amaro as the leader of the company, and I'm sure he's going to want it to go over really, really well. And I think a Figment announcement, that would be it. But besides that, we're definitely going to see some stuff about Villains Land, right? I know that's kind of the farthest off, but some Villains Land thing. One other prediction, not really a prediction, more something that I really, 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 really want. I would love for them to announce a Rapunzel attraction for the Germany Pavilion. Could you imagine? They have all the space back there. There was going to be an attraction back there anyways, but some sort of a Rapunzel boat ride, dark ride attraction would be incredible. But anyways, I want to know, what do you think? Do you have any predictions for these park announcements for D23 this year? Let me know in the comments. And what do you think of my predictions? I'm really, really curious. But that's not it for these D23 announcements. On Sunday, August 16th, we're going to have the Disney Legends Awards ceremony. This is going to be hosted by Ryan Seacrest, and we're going to be getting the class of 2026 Disney Legends. And some of them are kind of head scratchers, and some of them I think are well deserved. The list includes Jerry Bruckheimer, Susan Egan, Eric Goldberg, Anne Hathaway, Bob Iger, Dwayne Johnson, the Jonas Brothers, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alan Tudyk, and more. So that'll be an interesting celebration, award ceremony, I guess. But again, that's not all. This is also going to feature two different concerts this event. We're going to have the Disney Rewind concert, which is music from the 80s and 90s with guest performers from Disney legends Bill Farmer, Jodie Benson, Susan Egan. So we're going to get Goofy Movie, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, all that kind of stuff. Maybe some Hercules in there as well. And speaking of Hercules, right? The other concert is A Whole New World of Alan Menken. This is an Alan Menken concert. Guys, I can't describe how badly I want to go to this. So it says a rare one man concert with Disney legend and 8-time Academy Award winner Alan Menken. So, I want to go to that so badly. Guys, I am running out of time. I'm only on the first story, and we only have 5 minutes left. So let's see. There's going to be signings with Joe Rohde, Eric Goldberg, Ron Clemens. There's going to be a ton of panels, one about Spider-Man, one about Enchanted, a live podcast recording with the Jonas Brothers, a Camp Rock panel. It's crazy. But then the other really big thing, guys, on August 16th, they're having the Disney Experiences Auction. This is Heritage Auction. This is Disney literally auctioning off props and other items from the Disney parks. This is going to open for online bidding on July 20th, and it takes place on August 16th. And Brett Iwan, Mickey Mouse himself, is hosting. Guys, you could bid on things like a actual ride vehicle car from Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, props from the DCA Tower of Terror queue, some Muppet Vision 3D props, Disney parks trash cans, right? We all love that. That can be your new dining room table, right? Trash can. And just so much more. Obviously, I don't think we'll be able to buy these as, normal people, but these rich celebrities that are going to be there will buy some stuff. I'm sure Neil Patrick Harris will buy some of these things, but I want to look through this catalog and, like a little kid around Christmas time, I want to earmark the pages where it's like, I want that. I want that. I definitely would love a ride vehicle, any ride vehicle. I would love that for my house. With just about 3 minutes left, let's go on to the next story, and that is Moana live action did not do well in theaters. I saw it. It was fine. It was basically the exact same movie as the animation, just, pretty much a shot-for-shot remake, but it scored 33% rotten from critics and 90% for fans, so I guess fans liked it. But get this, guys. Its opening weekend only made $43 million domestically. Guys, that is only a little bit more than Snow White made. Remember that really terrible remake of Snow White? That made 42 million and this made 43. So I think this is a sign. Disney, stop with these live action remakes. We don't want them. We want original content. But with that being said, the Tangled movie, seems promising, but it'll probably also be a shot for shot remake. But my take on this Moana movie, like I said, it's the same movie. The acting was good. That girl who played Moana, I think, did a really great job. Dwayne Johnson, basically is Maui, so I think it worked, although he looked kind of weird with that hair. And some of the new sequences were good. Some of it was a little weird. I felt like they could have gone a little bit more serious in tone with this since it's a live action movie. I know that was kind of one of the criticisms of the Aladdin live action from a lot of people, but that's one of the things I genuinely really liked about the Aladdin live action movie was that it took a little bit more of a serious tone. They got rid of Abu and stuff like that and made it a little less cartoony. I feel like the Moana remake really did lean in to the cartoony aspect. They even had like the shark Maui thing. It was fine, I guess. Go watch it if you like Moana because it's it's basically the exact same movie. So, all right, I have about a minute and 30 seconds left. Let's talk about one more story here that I think is interesting and kind of confusing, and that is that some of the parks, some of the theme park lounges, Geo 82 and Beak and Barrel, kind of got a walk up button on the app, and then it disappeared and it never even worked. So why? I've been to both of these. They're both incredible. I plan on going to both of these again in the future on my next trip in like 9 days from now, guys. That's crazy. But do you think the demand has waned enough to warrant walk up walk-ups for these lounges, Geo 82 and Beacon Barrel. Of course, Geo 82 is 21 and older, so there's a lot less demand for it because there's less people able to go. But I'll tell you, when I went there, it was packed and it was amazing. Now Beak and Barrel is the one. It's crazy over there. They're super strict on the time limit, so I don't know how they do a walk up over there. But I will say it was really easy to snag a reservation for Beacon Barrel for this next trip, but I don't know. Let me know. Do you like these lounges? Do you think that they deserve walk-up availability, or should it stick to only reservations? And with 8 seconds left on the clock, I did it. I kind of rushed the last two stories, but I say it still counts. Um, there's the timer. I talked about the three biggest Disney news stories for you guys in just about 15 minutes. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast feed, and tell your fellow Disney friends about this show, about this podcast. And thanks so much for all of your support. Of course, I'm your host, Nick Lazaga. This is Mickey in Minutes, and I will see you next time. Bye.